Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Wait, take.
Throw. End zone. Caught. Terrence Williams. Touchdown, Cowboys. Tony Romo.
They go for the shotgun. Roger looks left. Fires it out there. Caught by Tony Hill. Touchdown, Cowboys.
15 to the 10, he'll score. Emmitt Smith dances to the end zone. The Cowboys have taken a 2-score lead.
Play fake to throw it out of the end zone.
Going way down the field for Michael Irvin, bumping and grinding at the 5. Oh, he's got it. Touchdown, Cowboys.
Over the middle, caught by Witten, who loses his helmet but still keeps going. A penalty. All the pressure on the left side. He drops the ball, throws, caught, Witten. Touchdown.
Big opening for Tony Dorsett. Look out, he's got great speed.
99 yards and a half.
Dorsett down the sideline. Stays in bounds.
Can you believe that?
And
Short because they
99 yards.
Prescott able to get out of the end zone and now airs it out for Lamb. He's got it. He's gone. When he gets there, it's a touchdown, Cowboys. On top.
You want to know what an all-pro looks like? Watch Michael Irvin here. He'll battle you all the way down the field.
Motion on first down, Aikman. Harper. Was that beautiful? Touchdown, Dallas. Men on the rush. Pass is caught. Deflection. Touchdown. Cowboys win. Amari Cooper.
Throws it down the field. It's caught at the 10. And this game is over. The Cowboys win it. C.D. Lamb.
But no. But you understand, we do have one game left to play. Hey, fantastic. Every single one of you. I mean, I'm not just talking about these last 60 minutes. I'm talking about the quarterback schools, the mini camp, the off-season, the training camp, down in Austin when it was hot and you were tired, the whole bit. Everybody, you did one hell of a job. And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Cowboys Nation, welcome back to another episode of Sons of the Star. I am your host, Dallas. Joining me again, as always, is Cowboy Reg. We are live on X tonight. Happy Friday, everybody. If you have anything throughout the show, please throw that in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. So we are here on Friday night, November the 8th. The Cowboys are 3-5. They've just fallen to the Atlanta Falcons 27-21. And they are facing the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday afternoon. So, Cowboy Reg, a lot has happened. We apologize. We haven't been with you guys in a little while, so we're excited to be back on tonight. But, I mean, overall, the Cowboys are 3-5. What is the status of the Dallas Cowboys? Well, first of all, how are you feeling, Cowboy Reg? How are you doing? And then let's talk about the status of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm all good here. I'm healthy and happy. So yeah, we're good to go here. We're a little hot and humid down in South Carolina, but that beats some of the northeastern states that are getting a little winter already. So we're good down here.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's good. Same here in Mississippi. It's been pretty unseasonably warm, but hey, you know, it is what it is. But it's hot, much like the seat that Mike McCarthy is under. So there's a lot that's happened. There's a lot that's transpired. Like I said, we really should get right into it. The Dallas Cowboys are 3-5. They're coming off of 3 straight losses now. They haven't won a game since they had that win in Pittsburgh, including a bye week. So it feels like, it was a great win, but including the bye week.
Seems like even better now. That's our last one we got.
Yeah, you tossed in the bye week and the other 3 losses. I mean, this has been tough sledding for the Cowboys. So they haven't won a game in about a month or over a month. So it's tough, man. That was a tough loss in Atlanta because not only did the Cowboys lose that game, they were already not looking well, but Dak Prescott went down with an injury. Cooper Rush came in at the end of the game there, but I guess that's the first segment. I mean, we can talk about takeaways of the Atlanta Falcons game, but no takeaway is bigger than the fact that we could have just lost Dak Prescott for the year. I don't know if he'll come back this year at all. So that's not good. So we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys in a different light now at 3-5 with losing your starting quarterback at least for, from my understanding, 6 to 8 weeks. The Joneses
Oof.
are obviously being very
Oof.
sketchy about this whole thing, but he's been placed on the IR. I don't know. I don't think we will see Dak Prescott again this year. That's my humble opinion. But other than that, Cowboy Reg, I mean, what's up with the Cowboys right now?
Well, I mean, I'm finding the silver lining because I've come to accept that the season is over. This is not a playoff team, and it wasn't built to be a playoff team. This team was built to restructure and reload through getting rid of old contracts, one including the head coach, and getting rid of those contracts at the end of this year, and then rebuilding. I'm starting to come around with the idea that you have that they really want that Boise State running back. They don't need to pick number one to get him, so they can win a few games and compete and look like they're trying, but they're really not trying. So having that frame of thought that I'm not feeling any stress about them winning games, I'm very intrigued to see how this offense works with Cooper Rush. We criticize Dak on this show. We're not nearly as harsh as the normal person in our fan base that's ready to throw him in the contract in the ocean. He gets trashed on a daily basis. Let's see what this offense looks like because it's going to be rather healthy offense. CD Lamb seems fine. He's not even on the injury report. Rico's starting to run the ball well. The offensive line is getting healthier. I see no reason why Cooper Rush can't succeed in that offense, at least as much as Dak was, but wasn't good enough to win games. But what if Cooper does? Then we got a quarterback controversy. So this could get interesting. So I'm wide awake watching these games, man. I want to see what's going to happen with the offense running through Cooper. Maybe they start running the ball more, which I've been calling for all year. They start running the ball now, and now you got Micah Parsons back on defense. They mess around and win a couple games now.
Yeah, I think you make some really good points there, but I want to highlight something you said. You said potential if Cooper Rush comes out and performs well, quarterback controversy with Dak Prescott making $60 million a year in the future.
The controversy would be in the fan base, not the ownership's gonna. What will happen? I just talked about this on another podcast, a Packers podcast. Cheese Talk Pod, by the way. Cheese Talk Pod had me on. We talked about the similarities between what the Cowboys are going through now and what the Cleveland Browns had just went through with Deshaun. Everyone in that building knew that Joe Flacco was the better quarterback, but they couldn't keep Joe Flacco because of the contract with Deshaun. And now they're actually celebrating his injury because now they can move on from him. And it's like, is that something that we would be even, entertaining? If Cooper Rush, who's, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is the man 5-1, 4-1, 5-1 as a starter, what if that continues?
Man, that's a big reach. I
I'm
disagree
not
on a
saying
few
it
fronts.
will. I'm asking the question.
Yeah, I
question.
disagree on that. To me that is an absolute horrible comparison there because Joe Flacco and Cooper Rush are two totally different. I mean, how many games has Joe Flacco played in the NFL and he's continued to have success? So that's different. I mean, that guy had years of success in Baltimore before ever starting a game in Cleveland.
And they ran him
And
off.
and Deshaun Watson, like you're talking about a guy that played one good year in COVID year as opposed to Dak Prescott, who has multiple years of work in the NFL. Those are two totally different quarterbacks. They're not even on the same level. So, yeah, I highly disagree with that comparison. I kind of see what you're getting at there. I mean, did
Okay.
Ragu bring that up, or did you bring that up?
No, that's my thought. And let me counter with what you're saying with this. Dak, let's say Dak is out 6 weeks and Cooper goes 4-2 or 5-1. He's 5-1 now. So if he goes 5-1 with a team that was 3-5, and Dak all of a sudden says he's feeling better, they might send Dak back out there. What are you thinking as a fan? You're good with that? Bring Dak back? Or is the guy, 5-1? What do you do there?
I mean, if Cooper Rush was able to go 5-1 with this upcoming schedule and this Dallas Cowboys team, he deserves to be the NFL MVP. I mean, obviously you don't play him again because I would bet pretty much everything I own, my house,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
car, everything, that Cooper Rush isn't going 5-1 with this team. If he goes 1-5, I think that would be a good start because there is no team on
He's
the
going to win
schedule.
games. He's going to win a couple games. I think they might go 2
Is
and 4
he?
3. Yeah. He's going to win this Sunday. He's
Oh
going to win this
man.
Sunday. Cooper
Oh
Rush is
man.
going to lead the Cowboys to victory on Sunday.
Oh
Maybe.
man.
That's not my pick.
I
That's not my pick yet. We'll save the picks for the end of the show.
I pray you're right, but man, I don't see it happening. So let's just talk about it real quick. So let's say Dak's out 6 games. You got the Eagles, the Texans, the Commanders, the Giants, the Bengals, the Panthers. So
2 wins in there.
Cooper,
2 wins. You got
I
to
could
stamp
see
right
2
away.
wins. Okay,
Bang,
yeah. I
bang.
mean,
2
I could see the Giants and the Panthers as
Giants
wins.
and Carolina. There you go. There's 2.
And then at that point, you are 5-10.
Oh
Or
no, I
5
didn't
and
say that's
9.
all they're going
5
to
and
get. I'm
9.
just saying you got to give them those 2 wins and then look at those other games. I think there's a win in those other games.
So you think Cooper Rush could either beat the Eagles, the Texans, the Commanders, or the Bengals?
Given all those games with him as a starter, he's going to at least win one of them.
Man.
I mean,
okay.
What's he going to do different? What's he going to do differently than Dak hasn't? Dak is overall the better quarterback. Has Dak played that well this year? Are you going to see a significant drop off in QB play? Did you see a drop off in QB play when he came in the second half?
I mean, that's hard to. I don't judge that when quarterbacks come in during a game because no one's preparing for that. So I don't like to look
I
at
agree
that.
with that.
I think the Eagles game is, and I know like Cooper Rush is a very capable backup. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's why in 2020 he was able to do so well. That's why his record is so good because he's the type of guy that if the Cowboys are 5-3 right now and Prescott goes down with this injury, we're not. I mean, we're worried, but we're not freaking out because we know he can come in on a good team and lead the offense. It's just my issue is like, yeah, Dak's looked bad this year, but that's because the team as a whole has been so bad. I don't know who's going to come in here and make a difference on this team other than maybe Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow's the guy that I look at. The Bengals are I feel like similar to the Cowboys, where they're 2 pretty bad teams. The difference is the Bengals have a fantastic quarterback, and the Cowboys have not played great at quarterback. So I don't think that's good.
Yeah. So you're kind of agreeing with me without wanting to agree with me. The quarterback play has not been good this year. So
I'm saying there's no way in hell that Cooper Rush is coming in taking, turning this team around. Like nobody's turning this team around.
Probably not. I don't think they want to win. I don't think they want to win. I think they want McCarthy out and they want to start over. So yeah, I mean, hot take.
Hot Take City says hello, rush to the moon.
The good news for Hot Take City is they won't have to face their father, Dak Prescott, in that Giants game because, man, he owns the Giants. So Hot Take's got to be feeling good over there that Cooper Rush is who they're facing in that next game. And, can Danny Dimes outduel Cooper Rush? Between the Dimes and the Gold Rush, I'm going with the Gold Rush. Hot Take, sorry.
Yeah, fun Thanksgiving Day matchup there. I'm sure people will be taking their turkey naps during that one because it's going to be a sleeper for sure. It's going to be a 12-9 game. I don't know who's going to win, but it's going to be 12-9.
Well, we got a better kicker.
Hot Take City says, love the helmet. Yeah, quick shout out to what is this? Brainy Ballers. Hey, Brainy Ballers with the fresh Sons of the Stars helmets. So shout out to Brainy Ballers. These things are pretty sweet. I like them a lot. So thank you, Cowboy Reg, for hooking that up and hooking up this nice Sons of the Star hat. So
Yeah.
as the season falls apart, we are slowly coming together here at Sons of Star. We got some
And
merch now, so be on the lookout.
you listeners can see where this is going as we're getting some merchandise. So there will be some giveaways in our future, but we're getting the merch now. We're testing the merch, seeing what we can get, quality, see what our pricing is, and to be continued in the future. We will have some merchandise out there for you folks.
Heck yeah, I love it. Yeah, Hot Take City says he's a goat. I love Brainy Ballers. Yeah,
Yeah,
this high quality. This is some high quality, serious gourmet shit, right? As
yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson once said. So, speaking of things that are not high quality, let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys real quick. So yeah, we kind of got off topic there, but yeah, Dak Prescott right now, he could potentially be out for the entire year. He's on the IR for at least 6 weeks. So that's bad. All right, so we're at a bad place right now. I thought the Cowboys looked okay after that Steelers win. I was pretty hopeful. We've had a ton of injuries this year. They were 3-2 going into that Lions game, and then from there things have really looked bad. I mean, other than the fact that they've made these past two games fairly close, but we got a big game coming up. I mean, again, any takeaways from the Falcons game other than the Prescott injury? I mean, I just felt like that was a game. It was ugly from the beginning. I thought the Cowboys came out and played fairly well in the first half, but again, they just kind of fell apart in the second half and got down to a point where they couldn't come back. The offense was just inept. Obviously, Dak Prescott went down in the second half, and it just wasn't good overall. It just looked very, I don't know. I just don't think any phase of the ball was really impressive. So, any other
No,
takeaways?
Rico. When we played Pittsburgh, Rico became the workhorse, and they won, and they ran the ball well in deep in the fourth quarter. And here in a game that kind of looked like a blowout for a while, they still gave the ball to Rico, and he ended up averaging 6.1 yards a carry. He had 107 total yards between receiving and rushing. He had a spectacular, bobbling, falling down catch that kept him in the game. So the good news is you found something in your offense that you can rely on. That's a running game with Rico. The bad news is we've seen this before, and then McCarthy starts giving the ball to Zeke instead. So I don't know what's going on with Zeke. You're hoping that you have some news for us. Is he still apart from the team? Is he still under disciplinary action? Or will he be active in stealing carries from Rico and getting his 1.2 yards per touch average back up?
I mean, from my understanding, he will be available for this game. I don't really know if he's going to be. To my knowledge so far, I don't see whether he's going to be active or not for Sunday. I would lean towards he is going to be active.
So who do you
But
inactive Cook? Dalvin Cook out then?
yeah, see, they haven't come out with that yet. But I mean, I would assume that um, man, it would be Rico, Cook, and Zeke, I guess.
I mean,
But
no, I think
they haven't really said yet.
what you're finding, and I remember talking about this earlier when we first picked up Cook, is Cook and Zeke are the same back. They're going to be used for the same reasons. They kind of give you their strength and their weaknesses are the same. You wouldn't want them both active. You would want one or the other. And that was real easy when he was still on the practice squad, but now they kept elevating Cook. I don't want to say he's done a great job, but I think he's done just as good or better of a job than Zeke. So now you can't punish Rico. Lutke is a different position. He's a fullback. Neither one of these guys are going to try to play fullback / tight end. Lutke plays tight end too, and he's damn good at it. So that means Rico is in and Lutke is in, and you got to decide between Cook and Zeke. Last week, it was Cook because Zeke was late to a meeting and whatever rumors we heard was he was late to several meetings, and then he complained about touches, and they were like, well, you don't show up to meetings on time, so you shouldn't be complaining. You're not playing this week. And then he gave the old, Well, if I'm not playing, I'm not going. And they go, oh, we don't want you to go. We're not giving you a ticket on the plane. So that's what kind of went down as far as I could tell from what I've heard and read. So what changes from last week? Do they say, we don't need that attitude in the building? Or do they give Zeke another chance and they give him the ball? And I don't know.
Why? I mean, what has Zeke shown you this year that he is
Nothing.
worth any of that trouble? I mean, I would have
Nothing.
him gone. I would have him
Gone.
gone right away. And that would be the last you would ever hear of Ezekiel Elliott in the NFL. I mean, this guy is so bad at this point. No other team wants him. The only reason you have him is because he's still on the payroll, and now he's showing you that he's becoming a problem in the locker room. Like, what purpose does Ezekiel? I mean, I used to love Zeke. I mean, I thought this guy was going to be like my generation's version of Emmitt Smith. Like, I was so high on
Right.
Ezekiel Elliott. Like in 2016, this guy was the chosen one, man. He was
Yep.
fantastic, and I hate to see the downfall of Ezekiel Elliott. I don't dislike Zeke, but at this point, after everything that's transpired, like this guy, the fact that he could suit up for the Cowboys on Sunday, I find is an absolute joke. What are you getting out of Ezekiel Elliott at this point? I mean, he better be coming in like feeling like he's the luckiest guy alive because honestly, if
He is.
what has he done this year? And what is he didn't do anything last year. He didn't do anything in 2022 either. So, I mean, the fact that he's not showing up, like he's having disciplinary issues with how he's played football this year is a complete joke. This guy should be gone. He shouldn't even be in the USFL. Like this guy shouldn't never suit up for a football team again. He shouldn't.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
awful. He's god awful.
yeah, you got to wonder what that's all about. Is that McCarthy? Is that Jones?
Yeah. It
I don't
doesn't make
know.
any sense.
I,
Why would you
I
have him on the team? That was honestly that should be your it's like a get out of jail free card right there. It's like, oh, well, we thought Zeke would be a good move, but obviously he's not focused on football anymore. He's had these disciplinary, he's not showing up to meetings.
yep.
So we decided to part ways. Like, no harm, no foul. All of a sudden, we write that one off. Say, well, Zeke, it wasn't that Zeke was a bad player and you brought him back. Like, he's not focused anymore. Like, he's over
Yep.
football. Let's just write him off and move on. Like they're somehow that's how bad this front office is like they're not even willing to accept that. They're like, oh, let's bring him back.
Yeah,
Maybe this will
because
fire him up.
then they could
Let's
just
give him some
elevate
touches.
elevate Delvin Cook, and you're getting the same product, and except
Yeah.
the guy that's on the practice squad working to get himself back in the NFL, rather than the guy we gave him the starting role this year for no reason. So yeah, you're right. Send him walking, but it ain't gonna happen. There's no use even
Yeah, it's
worrying
shocking.
about it.
What is
They
the
won't.
point? What's the point?
Yeah,
What is the
we
point? I
got
mean, I get
he ain't
I
the
get
only
that.
lame duck.
Yeah, I mean, Deuce is bad. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I would roll out there with Rico. I mean, Dalvin Cook hasn't been like you said. At least he seems like he wants to be out there, and he.
He did
I mean, he
screw up
hasn't been
and
great,
too
but
many men on the field. He had too many men on the field.
yeah,
That
that's
was
fair.
very costly. But I mean, he's new to the team. I mean, those are the kind of mistakes, that personnel mistake, like am I supposed to be out here or not, that you would expect from a new player coming up off the practice squad. And you would hope one of the coaches would have been assigned to make sure that he doesn't do that. But I mean, still at the end, it's his fault, I'm sure. But I mean, I wouldn't hold that against him, is what I'm saying. I think he could play. I think there's actually an upside to him. I don't think there's an upside to Zeke. I think Zeke's best is way behind him, and Dalvin Cook's best is behind him. But I think he could be better than he showed last Sunday. I think he's still getting better from coming back into the NFL, and I think Zeke is just washed. I mean, there's no other way to put it. He's washed.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's done, man.
Done.
His goose is cooked. I don't know what else to say. It's sad, like the downfall, but sometimes like running backs have a very short shelf life, and that's the case with Zeke. I mean, it's just
Hit
unfortunately,
the
I don't know
wall.
really what happened. It wasn't really like some major injury that set him back. It's just the guy's done. The running back room is not in a good place. But I agree with you. I thought Rico has continued to look good. It's just like give this guy the ball. I don't. It's still with 12 carries, 75 yards last week. It's just like, where is this guy? Like, we saw the same thing last night out of Baltimore. It's like two different teams. I get it, but Derrick Henry. I'm not comparing Derrick Henry to Rico, but sometimes you just have to give your guy enough touches to the point where they start to break off some runs, and it's like when you got a guy averaging over 6 yards per carry and you only give him the ball 12 times, I mean, I don't understand that. I mean, yeah, you were trailing in the game a little bit, but they could have run the ball in the second half. Like they were down 14-10. It's not one of these games like Baltimore or Detroit or New Orleans where you're getting blown out at halftime. Like they were very much in this game. They wrote for some reason they continue to write Rico like out of the game plan. I really
Yeah, and
can't I can't
he does
understand it.
lead the team now in rushing at 321, but and he's 4.5 yards a carry on the year. He was 6.1
Yeah.
in this game. So I mean, teams will line up for a guy that averages 4.5 a carry. I mean, that's above average. So, yeah, they got to start feeding the guy. He's proven himself. He's played the game. He knows he's the best. He's got to know he's the best running back on the team, but you don't see him under any disciplinary action. You don't hear rumors of him crying for more touches like Zeke did. So it's time to give the keys to the car to Rico and say, drive it, baby. We got a backup quarterback in the game. We're playing the Eagles. Give the ball to Rico and see what happens. What could go worse? You cut
Right.
down on your turnovers. What could be worse than what you're doing? And your passing game has been horrid all year. So let's try to run the ball a little bit and see what happens. And there's the guy. He's in the building. Give him the ball.
Yeah, Hot Take City said they aren't using Rico right at all. Rico is a great back, and Reg knows how big I've been on Rico before the season started. Yeah, you have been Hot Take City, and he's our guy. He's the only guy we have. I mean, other than Hunter Luepke, who started the year good. I mean, he really hasn't had a lot of carries
They're not giving
recently,
him the
but
ball. Yeah, they're not giving the ball to him either.
yeah.
And
I mean,
short yardage.
to me, I would be gone. I'd be done with Zeke, and I'd be done with Deuce as well. I would bring Rico. I'd have Dalvin out there, and then I would give touches to Lukey. I would put Turpin in the backfield. CeeDee Lamb's been in the backfield. I
Hey, they
mean,
still got
there's
Malik Davis. They still got Malik Davis on the practice squad.
yeah,
I would
that's a good
rather
point
see
as
Malik.
well.
I would much rather see Malik getting touches over Zeke.
Oh yeah,
Malik
I mean, he's a
Malik
guy
is
that's
like
at least
Rico.
he's worked his ass off. He just never got,
Yeah.
he never really quite made it.
Yeah.
But Malik is a big one. I remember, Royce Freeman from the preseason as well as a guy that was like right there on making the team. And I don't know if he's still on the practice squad or not, but
I think he's gone and
I'm pretty sure he's
they
gone
should
as
have made
well.
Zeke play. They should have made Zeke play in the preseason. And then we might have kept Royce Freeman because he played well in the preseason.
I know.
And if
I
Zeke would
know.
have played in the preseason, we would have seen this guy's washed, and we could have kept Royce Freeman, and we wouldn't have the problem we do right now. Between Freeman and Rico, we would be just fine.
Yeah. It's so many things have gone wrong. So many things have gone wrong. But yeah, I mean, as we stand, the Cowboys are still, one of the worst, not the worst rushing teams in the NFL. And what do we have to face this weekend is the Eagles, who have one of the best, if not the best, rushing offenses in the entire NFL. So that's kind of the status of the Cowboys here. We're halfway through the show, and we haven't really had any. I mean, you had a few positives in here earlier, though, Cowboy Reg. I mean, I think Rico showed some flashes. I thought the offensive line looked okay. You know, Ferguson's kind of, to me, Ferguson's coming back into form a little bit. He's obviously coming on. He was a little banged up. He put on some weight in the offseason. I thought he's been looking all right. Uh, I thought I saw a lot of the CeeDee Lamb last weekend, with him being injured and really just putting himself back in the game and really showing a lot of leadership. I was really pleased with CD. in the Falcons game, and just
he did not want any part of being out this week either.
yeah.
He's made it to practice, and now he's even off the injury report. So yeah, you got to give CD some credit for acting like he's not just taking the money, because it would be real easy for him to say, "Oh, starting quarterback's out. My shoulder ain't right. I need a couple weeks off." And everybody would have been like, "Oh yeah, no problem. You're CD Lamb, whatever." But he's not doing that. He's playing, and he wants to play. So yeah, that means something.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. And he came out and backed Cooper this week too. So we've called for this for a while now, and I thought he's really, we had his issues in the second game of the year against the Saints, and he came out and apologized for that. He's been great ever since. But he came out in the news, said that he backs, obviously he's going to back Cooper Rush, but really came out to the media and said some really positive things about Cooper Rush. He said he's confident that he could lead this offense, and he's done it before. He's been around for a long time, and I echo that, man. Cooper Rush has been around for a long time, and he's not just a guy that you don't know what you're going to get out of him. I mean, he's been very consistent and won some games with the Cowboys and beaten some pretty good teams, honestly, during that time. So we'll see. I mean, I thought that was positives. There are some positives out of the offense. It's just like the play calling's still bad. Obviously, Dak Prescott did not look good. He hasn't looked good all year, and now he's hurt. But who knows? It's at a point where it can't really get any worse. Maybe you can establish a run with Cooper. Maybe he can put something together. I don't know. But also Trey Lance. So, I've heard rumblings out of Cowboys media, Jerry Jones kind of having some weird statements out there that there is a package for Trey Lance, whether that be on Sunday or moving forward. Do you expect that we will see Trey Lance at all? I'm not saying as the starting quarterback, but do you think they have anything designed for Trey Lance? Because obviously he could be activated now. So you think they'll use him at all?
I mean, does Jerry listen to this show? Because after Trey Lance ran amok in the preseason, you remember me saying he's our third string quarterback, but he needs to be occasionally activated with some plays, some
Right.
gadget plays. I'd like to see him learn to catch the ball, like what's his name, Taysom Hill,
Yeah.
for New Orleans. I think he could play that, and I think he could play quarterback in the future. But man, you remember a couple times in the preseason where he decided he was going to run the ball, and he looked like Lamar Jackson running the ball. He looked like the fastest guy in the field. But he's your emergency quarterback. You don't get to put him in any of those plays. So now that he moves up to backup quarterback, which means he could come in and play in those plays and still come back out and be the backup quarterback, I believe it. I believe there might be something there. I don't know if we'll see it this first week, but I think, why else do you have him on the roster? You didn't extend it. They didn't pick up his fifth-year option. So what are you developing him for? For the next team to have a quarterback? I would use him. Say, dude, you got talent. You're fast. You're good running the ball, and you could pass the ball. You keep him honest. If he's at the ball in his hands, are you committing to the run, or are you afraid he might pass? So I'd like to see some of these plays that Jerry's talking about. I don't believe that we'll see it this week, but eventually maybe.
Yeah, that's the interesting part is like, what does that mean? Now, here's the question too, is like also, do you expect to see Trey Lance start? I mean, I get the part of the Cowboys fan base that wants Trey Lance to just come out and play this game because who cares? There's
Right.
also like the fact that, hey, you're 3-5, like maybe somehow the
Yep.
Cowboys can kind of tie something together, win a couple games, end up at 5-5, and who knows what happens at that point. So I don't think it's really. I'm with you. I'm not saying you're wrong if you want Trey Lance to start this week as a starting quarterback, but you have to give Cooper this opportunity. I mean, this is a guy
Yep.
that's been loyal to the team. He could have gone elsewhere. He's a very, very he's earned his spot as like one of the better, if not, one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league. So you
Yep.
have to give him this opportunity to start. He's came in before. He's 5-1 as a starter in the NFL. So
There it is.
he's got to start. He's got to start this game. He's got to start this game
100%.
now. If he looks awful on Sunday and they get blown up by the Eagles, we can start having that conversation about Trey Lance. And I'm with you, right? It's like the Cowboys are 3-5. They've looked bad all year. They have all these injuries. Like, their head coach is on the end of his contract. I get it. Like, you might as well see what you got in Trey Lance. But he did have his opportunities in preseason, and he didn't really prove himself. He had flashes of looking good, but I mean, really, he didn't take the spot from Cooper in any way. I mean, you remember
Nope.
that dime that Cooper threw to Jalen Brooks in the preseason in that first game of the year. I think
Walked
back
it
to
off
that.
too. He walked
So
off after that.
yeah,
He
so
didn't,
you got to
he
give
didn't
Cooper
have to
this
play again.
opportunity. I think you got to give Cooper 2 games. Like, let's say Cooper loses these next 2 games. The Cowboys are 3-7. At that point, all right, let's maybe start Trey Lance. I don't know. I mean, if they need his little switch
Yeah.
up at that point, like the season's way over, so who cares?
I think,
We gotta.
yeah, I agree with you. I think I was going to say when you get that 8th loss, when you lost 8 games, it's time to put in Trey Lance. Especially if that comes with, if you go on a 3-game losing streak right now, so you're 3-8, then you're done. I would put Trey Lance in for the rest of the year. But right now, Cooper deserves a chance, and we should have faith in him to come through. I mean, the guy's 5-1, so we shouldn't. I kind of think we're being disrespectful thinking he's going to lose 3 straight because we never thought he'd be 5-1 when he played quarterback in those emergency situations. We thought, can we just win half those games? Well, Dak is out, and Trey's like, hold my beer, I'll win 5 out of 6. So maybe some magic left in his hat. We'll see.
Yeah, David, Caleb, both guys need the opportunity to showcase who they are, but Trey's about to go in free agency. You need to see what you have in him. Yeah,
Yeah.
the other thing is Cooper Rush is going to be a free agent in 2025 as well.
Yeah.
So both guys are entering free agency. So I see what you're saying, but I mean, if Cooper can take control of this offense and the Cowboys can win some games under Cooper Rush, I mean, there's no need to ever see Trey Lance play. I mean, in my opinion, you've seen what Trey Lance can do. I think his abilities are very limited in the fact that he can run like the wind, but he cannot throw the ball. So I mean, maybe there's a space for him. I'm not saying this is the last year Trey Lance to be in the NFL, but he's going to have to find a better team. David Gonzalez also says Rush went 5-1 with this historical defense and a running game. It's unrealistic to expect that from him. Yeah, I mean that's true, but at the same time, you have great teams that go out there and with their backup quarterbacks and lose games. I mean, I don't. Let's see. I had his stats up here.
And his stats are not anywhere near Dak's stats, QBR, yards passing, touchdown rate. Dak's better on all of it, but his win-loss column is better, and it's a small sample size, but I think Cooper's just a little bit better protecting the ball. And I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, look, man, I'm not looking at the Eagles game as an unwinnable game. I mean, we know what the Eagles did last year, and they were, 10-2 or whatever at some point, and they're kind of looking like they're doing it again this year. So I'm not afraid of I'm not thinking that's a Super Bowl champs coming in or the Detroit Lions coming in with a chip on their shoulder. I think the Eagles could slip up in this game, and we might not catch them at their best. Because I think they probably think this game's in the books. The Cowboys suck, and they lost Dak. So we'll just show up, and they'll give us a W. But, I mean, maybe Cooper Rush can do it. I'm not expecting him to go 5-1 either, but I'm also not expecting him to go 1-5. I think every single game on the schedule is just as winnable with him under center.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Cooper Rush, I'm thinking back to the 2022 year. So he went 4-1 in 2022 after the Cowboys lost that beginning game to Tampa Bay. He beat Cincinnati, the Giants, the Commanders, and the Rams. So to me, that's 4 solid teams. I mean, the Giants obviously he beat 2 division foes. Took out Cincinnati. What did Cincinnati do in 2022?
That's a Super Bowl team, isn't it? Or is that, did they lose the AFC Championship to KC that year? Or is that the Super Bowl year?
Yeah, that's a team that they lost the AFC Championship. So they
Yeah,
went to Super Bowl in 2021, but the 2022 Bengals ended the year at 12-4 and won their division. So, I mean, he threw for 235 against the Bengals that year. I mean, that's pretty damn good. I think that's above average, you would say, for a backup quarterback. Like those wins going 4-1 at the very beginning of the year, regardless of the team around you as a backup, I find that that's above average. I don't
absolutely.
see many backup quarterbacks that can do that. So I understand what you're saying, David Gonzalez, but like I don't think the Cowboys were necessarily world beaters that year. So we'll see. I mean, I think there's more to Cooper than that. But again, with this current team, I don't know how much he can do with. But again, I feel like the offense has started to look better. Um, let's see. David Gonzalez says his offense with him under center was ranked 22nd or lower, averaging a little over 20 points. I just don't believe in the roster to give Rush a chance like they did in 2022. Yeah, I get that. Like I said, I don't think this team is quite as talented or as good as 2022, but I'm just saying that um, I don't
He's
know.
capable.
I still
He's
think I still think he's capable and he deserves a chance
yeah,
to play at least 2 games. Start 2 games. If he doesn't look good, the Cowboys get blown out against the Eagles and the Texans. Put Lance in there 100%. But I don't mind like also letting Lance play some in these next couple games is like if you design a package with them. I don't know how creative the offense is going to get, but I agree with
two
you. Look,
point
yeah,
and
2022 team was better,
yeah,
but at the end of the day, I still feel like Cooper Rush is an above average backup quarterback. Um, I'm not saying he's going to go out and win this game against the Eagles and have a chance to beat um, the Texans, but David Gonzalez also says, I like Cooper Rush, and I think he has a better chance than anyone else, but I feel for him. Yeah, I mean, we're with you. We want him to succeed, but at the end of the day, like
yeah.
he
My
he's got a
my
tough
big
task.
point is, do you feel like we're going to lose to the Eagles because of Cooper Rush? And my answer is no. I don't feel any different about Cooper Rush against the Eagles than I did Dak against the Eagles. Our problems are deeper than quarterback. So I'm not taking the Dak thing as, oh, the season's over. We lost Dak. We're just not a
Right.
good football team. And it's not going to matter between Cooper and Dak because I think Cooper is just as capable as Dak. And in this situation, I don't think either one of them can succeed. But I'm not panicking because Dak's out. That's what I'm saying. I believe in Cooper Rush, and I think he could win a couple games, but I don't think the team's capable of going 5-1. I mean, you could bring Mahomes over, and I don't think we go 5-1 because you got Mike McCarthy calling a 30-year-old offensive scheme, and you're not handing the ball off to the guy that's the only one in the building that can run. So as long as those two things exist, I don't think it matters who's playing quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. So that's what we have at hand here. We got our backup quarterback in. We go to face a division foe. So let's preview this Cowboys Eagles game. It is Eagles week. It's Eagles hate week. Unfortunately, it doesn't really feel that great for the Dallas Cowboys because, like you said, we are 3-5. We got our backup quarterback coming in.
Hey, what's Cooper Rush's overall record again?
5-1.
How many Super Bowls have the Cowboys won?
5.
How many have the Eagles won?
1.
That's an omen. That 5-1 is going to come get them again.
We'll see. All right. So, Cowboy Reg, it always has a chance to keep us
I'm looking
optimistic.
for
So,
something with a tinfoil hat. It's an omen right there. They don't like 5s and 1s.
oh man, yeah, that's true. That's fair. So the Eagles are coming into town on Sunday at 3:25. This game will be on CBS. Tony Romo will call this game. Yeah, Tony Romo will call this game, so that'll be interesting. Usually, this game would be a Fox game, an NFC game, but I like the fact that Romo will be calling it.
Yeah,
That's always good. Um, Philly is a 7-point favorite. The
yeah,
over-under is
big.
at 43.5. So they're predicting like a 26-19 game would be at 45, or a 28-21 game would be at 49. So that would hit the over pretty good. But yeah, so Vegas is kind of predicting a 26-19 type game with the Eagles winning by a comfortable touchdown. So Cowboys, home dogs, 7 points. 0-3 on the year at home. They haven't won a game since December of 2023 at home. So close to a year here without winning at home games. So the dam's got to break eventually. Cowboy Reg, I mean, what do you early takeaways about this game? And what do you think about this game? You seem to be a little optimistic. Why is that?
I think that we got some personnel coming back with Micah Parsons, especially, and getting the good news out of CD Lamb's shoulder. And just like for all the reasons we've already said, my confidence in Cooper Rush, I don't feel like we're in any different position than we were when we had Dak, and now we add Micah Parsons to the mix. I think it's a competitive game. I have to pick a team. I think Philly's going to win the game, but I think it comes down to the end. I think it comes down to a field goal, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Cowboys win the game. I wouldn't be shocked. I will be shocked, and this might shock a lot of people. I'll be shocked if we get blown out. I don't think we're going to get blown out.
Yeah. Ragu's hitting us up with some Cooper, and whenever he comments on the show, it always ends up late. I'm not sure why. Sorry about that. I think he must be in some weird time zone. I don't know, but yeah, I'm with you. I mean, here's the thing about the Eagles: the Eagles are 6-2. They're second in the NFC East right now. Everyone's picking them to kind of win this game. A lot of people are picking them to cover this game, but if you've watched Eagles games this year, which I have, I mean, at no point have they looked impressive. Their most impressive win was a couple weeks ago against Cincinnati. Cincinnati just seems to get in their own way, and they lose a lot of football games. I don't know what their problem is, but that I will say that was a great win from the Eagles. Other than
Last
that,
week,
man,
yeah,
I
last
just
week was unimpressive. They should have lost. Trevor Lawrence shouldn't have thrown that pick. He had lots of time, and I think it was like a first down or something when he threw that pick. So, yeah, that's my other thing. Like, I'm not that impressed with the way the Eagles are playing. But go on. I'm sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
no, not at all. You're fine. I mean, look, they're 6-2. They had their issues with Sirianni. They still have their issues with Sirianni. I mean, I was just listening to some podcasts earlier this week from uh, some Eagles folks, and they still hate on him. But I
Well,
also hear
he kept going for 2 point last week. He went for 3 2-point conversions and made 0 of them. And then all of a sudden it's a 1-score game. And Trevor Lawrence is driving around the field, and the Eagles fans are like, sure would be nice to have 3 more points right now, but this moron's going for 2-point conversions every time. So yeah, I understand why their fan base is freaking out. This guy, I don't know what he's thinking over there. It's like McCarthy making a fake punt on our own 35-yard line or whatever. It's like, what is going on with these guys? Who's telling them that this is good statistical move?
yeah. Yeah, you had that whole issue too with the fans booing Sirianni,
Yeah.
specifically after that loss to, they had their issues with his loss, obviously to the Atlanta Falcons in week 2, and they went on to get blown out in Tampa Bay. So he had his issues, and then he was like talking shit to his own fans at one point this year. It's been a weird year. Sirianni's a weird dude. He's kind of a freak. I don't think he's a very good football coach. I think he fits in well with Philly because he's a scumbag, and I don't think he's a good guy overall. So they hate him because
You
like
don't,
it's
you
literally
don't
he's
know the
literally like
guy. He
it
could be a
dude,
saint. We don't know the guy.
if you were to pull an Eagles fan out of the crowd and put him on the field, like that would be like
That's be what they look like. Yeah.
Sirianni's persona. Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
the guy's
No,
kind
I
of a
agree with that.
shithead. So, but for some reason they also hate him. Like they're like, yo, like I know we are scumbags and we're bad people overall. Like if you're an Eagles fan, like you're obviously a bad human being, and you're looking at this coach like we expect a higher standard out of this coach, and like he's not that guy. And that's why they loved him at the beginning, and like now they're starting to dislike him. So I just kind of like the weird whatever complex they have there. Obviously, I'm kidding out there, guys. We still, you're not necessarily bad people, but I digress. Maybe you are. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, the guy's kind of scummy. He's a weird dude. He jumps
Yeah,
on
he's got
the bench after wins and
yeah,
celebrate. He's not like your normal football coach, especially in
no.
the NFL. Like he's weird. But I would take a little I would take some of that as opposed to Mike McCarthy, who just stands. Well, at least we saw a little bit out of Mike McCarthy last week. He slammed
He
his
slammed
tablet.
the
I liked it.
tablet
Liked it a
down.
lot.
But
So anyway, I'm getting off
there
topic,
was
but go ahead.
yeah. No, I was going to say uh, there was some people out there trying to figure out what caused him to throw that tablet down. Was it a play call or whatever? But from my sources, he was online checking the hours of the buffet, and unfortunately, it was closing right before the end of the game, and he was not going to be
Oh
able to hit
man,
the buffet after. And immediately, you saw his reaction after that. I mean, you got to feel for the guy. The Waffle
that's
House
bad.
menu was lost. All he had was a tablet, and the buffet was closing. So poor
Oh
bastard.
man, that's brutal.
Yeah,
I
well,
love it.
needless to say, we were doing some McCarthy bashing on the Cheese Talk pod that I was on earlier. One thing we can agree with on when we talk to Packers fans is the inept play calling of Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yep,
We have that in
it's
common.
bad news, but anyway, I digress. I had to get a little Eagles bash in there. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Um, Yeah, it's been an interesting year for the Eagles. Like they're 6-2, but I will say that their strength of schedule is PFF has it at 30 out of 32 in the NFL, and I would agree with that. Like they really haven't played a lot of good teams. I mean, they've played. Have they beaten a team with a winning
And
record?
Packers, they beat the Packers in Brazil,
They beat the
and that was
Packers in Week 1.
that's a weird. I mean, I'm not saying you
I
can't
don't
count
think. I
that
mean,
game.
look, man.
That's a weird game. It's a
I
preseason
know
game
you
is what
like
that
to.
is.
You like to talk to a lot of Packers fans. I don't think that team's that great. I really don't think they're very good. I mean, I know Detroit's good, but Detroit just went into the to Lambeau and just completely manhandled them. I don't think that I'm not saying the Packers won't make the playoffs and maybe win a game, but like
I think
yeah,
Detroit
like you
has
said, I mean, a
separated
week
themselves. Yeah, they separated
a
themselves from the
week
Packers.
a week 1 win against the Packers in on a neutral site, like I don't know. I mean, the same thing with the Packers. They really haven't played anybody either. Like they really haven't played a lot of great teams yet. So, um, yeah.
They
Anyway,
got tough division.
that,
They're playing, Minnesota twice and the Lions twice, and now the Bears. I don't think are as good as everybody made them out to be after 2 or 3 weeks, but they're still good enough to maybe this might be the year they split with the Packers. So the Packers are going to have a hard time getting into the playoffs if they get swept by Detroit and then split with Minnesota and Chicago. All of a sudden, they're in a tough spot because how many teams from that division can actually get in the playoffs? I mean,
right.
three is a real push, right? Three in one division that could happen. I think the Giants, Cowboys, and Eagles all made the playoffs a couple years ago. That was a very rare event. And then the Eagles and Cowboys, I think, both won or maybe it was that the year the Giants won a game, and that's when they paid Daniel Jones. That might have been that year. I don't remember.
No, I thought that was back in 22 into 23, right? That was 22 when the Cowboys beat Tampa Bay in the wild
Tampa in
card,
the
right? And
playoffs.
then
Yeah.
yep, that was the year. And then the Giants beat uh, Minnesota and went and played.
Yep.
They went and played
The
the
Eagles
Eagles in
didn't even
Philly and
try.
got blown out. Yeah.
They didn't even try. They were just
So
happy, and Daniel Jones knew he was
yeah.
going to get paid. It was it. He was like, I only had to play one game, and that was it. He hasn't played a good game since.
Yeah. So I mean yeah, you're right. But back to the Eagles. I mean, they've beaten one team
They beat the
with a winning
Bengals too.
record,
I
and that
mean,
was back in
the
week 1.
Bengals are struggling, but I mean, okay. You make a good point. I'm not high on him either.
I'm just saying I'm not making points here. I'm relaying facts, and the fact is that
Yeah,
the Eagles are 6-2 and the Cowboys are 3-5. The Cowboys don't have their
yeah.
starting quarterback, but before you start to say like oh, the Eagles are 6-2. They're going to come in here and beat the Cowboys by 30
That's what I'm
points.
saying.
Like, I mean, you had the Jaguars driving down 5 at home.
Right.
Like, you kind of threw up on yourselves, barely scraped away at the win by a last-minute
Yep.
interception. But, like, the Bengals win's impressive on the road. They're still a losing football team. You beat the Packers in week 1. That was the only winning football team you've beaten all year. So
Wow.
you lost to the Falcons, you lost to the Bucks, you beat the Saints, the Browns, the Giants, and the Bengals and the Jags. So they've had a really bad strength of record, and they're 6-2. So I don't know really what to expect out of the Eagles other than the
Another
fact
ugly
about the
win.
Eagles
Probably
is
another ugly win. That's what to expect.
here's the thing about the Eagles. What do they do really well? They run the ball really well. Saquon Barkley's leading the NFL in rushing. Man, he was a free agent this year. I wonder if we had a shot at him.
No, they never looked at him.
Well,
They don't look
Derrick
at
Henry
Derrick
and
Henry.
Saquon
Henry,
are both reading. Yeah,
I mean, he was a discount. Barkley wanted to get paid. Jerry wasn't going to pay him. And Derrick Henry was a discount. Jerry never called him.
yeah. I don't want to talk about that anymore. We've talked
That's
about that so
terrible.
much. I'm over it.
Yeah.
But real quickly, here's what the Eagles do really well. They run the ball more than anybody else in the NFL. They are running the ball at 55% of the time. 55% of the time on offense, they're running the ball. They have the number one amount of rushing attempts per game in the NFL. So 35.8 rushing attempts per game. That's number one. Um, they have 175 rushing yards per game. That's number 2 in the NFL. And their rushing touchdowns per game at 1.8. That's number 1 in the NFL. So they're going to run the ball. The Cowboys are bad at defending the run, even though they did well last week. They held Atlanta to 100 rushing yards, which, I mean, you could say that's not great, but I mean, they ran the ball with Bijan 19 times for 86 yards. I thought that's fine. I mean, if you're able to limit the Eagles to 100 yards, you're in a good spot. I'm not saying that's what they're going to do, but we've seen these things before. How are the Cowboys going to win this game, where they're going to have to muck it up and make it ugly? And the Eagles will allow you to do that if you somehow stop the run. Now, Mike Zimmer has shown that he's going to put 6 guys, on the line and stop the run. I expect him to do the same thing in this game because the Eagles, they're a bad passing offense. They pass the ball 45% of the time. That's last in the NFL. Their completion percentage is pretty good, but they don't throw it. They throw it 27 times a game, which is last in the NFL. Their passing yards per game is at 202. That's 20th in the NFL. And their quarterback's getting sacked 9.24% of the time, which is 27 out of 32 in the NFL. So you look at that, and it's not great. They don't pass the ball well. They don't have success with passing the ball, but they've been able to beat bad teams because Saquon Barkley is having a hell of a year. I mean, the guy's going off, and Jalen Hurts can run too. So, I mean, if the Cowboys aren't very good at stopping the run in the aggregate over the whole year. So if they're able to do that, then they're going to win this game. If the Cowboys can stop the run like they have it a few times this year, they have been able to stop the run. And you're looking at an Eagles team that really can't throw the ball very well. They've had injuries as well, especially in the wide receiver room. I mean, that's your chance to beat them. You stack the box, you stop the run. Maybe you have a shot here if you can keep the game low scoring. Because the Eagles are very one-dimensional, I would say. They like to run the ball. If they can't run the ball, then they don't really have a lot of other options.
Yeah, that's it right there, man. They're just a one-dimensional team. So, Mike Zimmer understands the assignment. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, the Cowboys are getting some good news that Micah Parsons should. I expect that he will play in this
Yeah, he's
game.
gonna play.
All signs lead to him playing in this game. So, that's promising news. Other than that, obviously, that Dak Prescott won't play in this game. Deron Bland won't play in this game. I don't know really what's happening with Deron Bland, but he's not going to play in this game either. So that sucks. I had the injury report up. here. Let
Yeah,
me
I
just
got
take a look at this.
Eric Kendricks is questionable. I expect him to play. Juwan Thomas is out. Concussion. That's a new one from last week we didn't have, so that's not good. So that's a
Yeah,
safety
the
out.
safeties have played awful all year, so I mean that doesn't help at all.
And then you got Diggs and Parsons and Kendricks all questionable and Bland out. So that one kind of threw me for a loop, the Thomas one. But other than that, I think having Parsons back is big. He's one guy that can catch Hurts. If Hurts takes off running, Parsons has the speed to catch him, and I don't think without him on the field, I don't think we had that speed from an edge or a linebacker. So I think it's good news to have Parsons back on the field. And if they do attempt to drop back and throw passes, you know what he can do.
Yeah, I mean that's the key. If they can establish a pass rush, I just told you that when it comes to sack percentage, the Eagles are one of the worst teams in the NFL. So getting Micah Parsons back is a big deal. I think the D line pass rush wise, they were able to get home a couple times against the Falcons. I think they've looked good, especially in the interior defensive line. Carl Lawson's looked good. Osad Digizu has been pretty good. Who's my other guy too on the edge? That's been really solid. Help me out here, Cowboy Reg.
Oh, I was just
Um,
scanning the report. Sorry. Uh,
um,
Let me go. Let me get off the injury report. I was just taking
that's
a
gonna
look at
bother me.
who dropped
Sorry,
off on
Chauncey
injury.
Chauncey Golston. Chauncey
Yeah,
Golston
Goldston has
has
played
played
well.
really well as well. So I mean, you got Chauncey Golston has played well at edge, and then Parsons on the other end. I think you're starting to
We
have
need
something come together there on
we
the
need
edge. But
Mozzie. Mozzie has shown flashes, and they're going to run the ball. Mozzie's going to have a big assignment trying to stop Barkley and not let him, wiggle through that first defense, that first line. So Mozzie's going to have to step up. Yeah, we got to stop the run, man. They're gonna try to run Barkley 200 yards if they can. They'll just run it down their
yeah,
throats. So they got to stop the run. They can stop the run. Stopping the run allows Micah Parsons to play. If you could stop the run and put him in 3rd and 7s and 3rd and 6s, all of a sudden Micah Parsons gets to rush the passer. So there it is. Everything comes together if you stop the run. Can they stop the run? That's I don't know, man. That's not.
well, I
It's
mean, here's why. If you want to be optimistic, I think of this game a lot like the Pittsburgh game, where it's like
yeah.
I think the Eagles have a I don't think I know they have a better rushing offense than the Pittsburgh Steelers, but both teams will run the ball on first and second down regardless of what you're going to do. So like Zimmer's really shown that he will stack the box and just test you. And they got beat like that against the Falcons a couple times, but um, the Eagles haven't really proven themselves to do that. And I think that's how you beat them, man. Just let him. If we get burned in the passing game, Jalen Hurts burns us in the passing game. It is what it is. Like the defense isn't very good, but I think you just stack the box, try to stop the run the best you can, and see what happens. And maybe you get a couple turnovers, you get a sack, you maybe get a strip sack. But I think that's how you beat this team. But you're going to have to muck it up. It's going to have to be pretty low scoring. You're going to have to make it ugly. So I mean, their defense has been, I would say, iffy at best. Um, Pretty much middle of the pack in a lot of categories. I think their rushing defenses look good. A lot of opponents' rushing yards per game is 100.1. That's number 5 in the NFL. But again, who have they played this year? I'll go back to that. I'll name these teams and name a good running back. Packers, Falcons, Saints, Bucks, Browns, Giants, Bengals, Jags. Alvin Kamara back in week 3 that's a good running back. But other than that, who have they faced that's really been
Josh
a
Jacobs. Jacobs is good for Green Bay, but that was his first game in the new system. I think that was a preseason game, man. In Brazil, game 1, that's a tough one to even look at, but he's a good back.
yeah, but you look at opponents. Let's see here. Opponents' passing yards per game, 189 and 7th in the NFL. It's pretty good. But again, not a lot of dynamic offenses. So, yeah, on paper, Philly still looks good. That statistically, they look like they're the team that should win this game. But like I said earlier, I think if you're able to muck it up, if Cooper Rush can come in and just lead the offense, and you can run the ball maybe a little bit and keep this under, let's say, 24 points for the Eagles offense, then maybe you have a chance at winning this game. If they go over that, you're probably not going to win this game. But yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for sure. But again, this is a rivalry game. The Cowboys are 3-5. They got their back against the wall. Maybe Cooper kind of ignites something I kind of always say this, like when a backup quarterback comes in, we saw this back in 2022. Everyone kind of has to rally around that guy, right? Everyone knows if they need to step up
Right.
because you don't have, they can't wait on Dak to make a big play. He's not on the field anymore. So who knows, man? Like I said, this is Eagles week. It's a rivalry week. I'm not going to come on here and talk about all the ways the Cowboys can lose this game because why would you listen to the podcast? I mean, we all know that the Cowboys should lose this game. Most likely they will lose this game, and it sucks, and we don't want to watch it. But there are pathways to victory here for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, if you really break this thing down, I mean, the Eagles play a lot of tight games. They haven't had a good strength of schedule. They're one-dimensional on offense, like we said. So, I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Well, then you pick
But
them to win. Then let's put it on the record.
all right, so let's get into predictions here. So Cowboy Reg, Cowboys, Eagles. The Eagles are 7-point favorites on the road. What do you have as your final prediction?
22-20. Cowboys win. 5 field goals. 5 field goals by Aubrey.
5 field goals.
One touchdown. Trey Lance. No, I'm kidding on that. 5 field goals and a touchdown. 22-20. Defense shows up, stops the run in the red zone. When the Eagles get in the red zone and the defense tightens up, that's when you stop Barkley and he has to pass, and they fail. So Cowboys squeak it out. I'm not betting any money on that, by the way. I'm just saying it. So I'm staying optimistic.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, look, man.
You're going to join me, or are you jumping ship?
We both picked the Cowboys to lose last week. We've picked the Cowboys to win a lot on this podcast. I mean, if we didn't pick the Cowboys to win games, why would we do this thing, right? And if you expect me to come on this show and dedicate my time to a Dallas Cowboys podcast, and I'll pick them to lose. Don't get me wrong. I'll pick them to lose. But if you expect me to pick the Eagles in any game in the NFL, I'm not going to do it. All right.
You won't do it. Can't do it.
Look, like I said, 6-2, great record, bad strength of schedule. There's a lot of issues with this football team. Maybe Cooper Rush finds something. I don't know. I think Micah coming back, that shows me promise.
Yeah.
They
CD
stacked
healthy.
the box. They stopped the run. CD really stepping up. I think the Cowboys have shown some fight this year, and it just hasn't come together. I think maybe something happens in this game, whether it be a few turnovers, just some luck, maybe. I don't know, but like there's something. I just feel like this team is going to come across a few wins this year just because of all the bad things that have happened to this team. I think there's got to be something good that happens within a season. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe I'm an idiot. If you're listening to this podcast by now, I mean, you probably have 100 bad takes from us, but here we go. Cowboys 24, Eagles 21. There we go.
All right, we're in the
squeak
same
out a
zip
win.
code. I think I'm
Because
under, and you might be over, but that's the difference.
Here's how I feel. Yeah, I mean, here's how I feel about the Eagles. I think most Eagles fans are very like after the Buccaneers blowout, they were like, this team sucks. Sirianni sucks. But then they had the Browns, the Giants, the Bengals, and the Jags. That Bengals win was good. I'll give you that. But the rest of those 3 wins, those teams are trash. That Browns win, they scraped by. They should have lost that game. They should have lost that Jags game. Sure, they blew out the Giants. The Giants are awful. I just think this team is due for a loss because I don't think they're a 6-2 team. Like, and everybody's kind of coming around this team like, oh, the Eagles are bringing it together. They're going to be good. They're going to win the NFC East. You know, they're going to face off with the Lions, and the winner of that game is going to the Super Bowl. I just don't see that team as that good. This team. So why not give me the Cowboys in a rivalry game? I still don't think this team is all that great, but maybe they find something here. Parsons brings it together because he's got to play some good football this year at some point. Maybe he just wrecks this game. Cowboys win 24-21. Why not? I mean, we got to have something, right? So, any final thoughts, Cowboy Reg?
Let's go. Let's see what, I mean, nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. So,
Super Bowl, baby. They could win this game. This would be fun. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
After
do it.
all that's happened, all that's transpired, let's go win a football game, boys. Why not? No better day than Sunday. All right. So thank you all for listening to another episode of Sons of the Star. Let's beat the Eagles, and we will be back next week to break this thing down. But let's win a game, boys. Let's win a game. And until then, this has been Dallas joining me again as Cowboy Reg. We will see you next time. And as always, no matter how bad it looks, go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys.
Beat the Eagles. Later.